forever and ever. Call the meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I want to welcome everybody. Please silence your phone. Next thing is a prayer, silent prayer. Mike, it's up to your decision.
Please join me in a moment of silent prayer. Amen.
Thank you, Mike. Roll call, starting with Commissioner Stephen. Here. Commissioner Mike Smith's here. Commissioner Dove.
Here.
Is Vanessa on the phone? Commissioner Vanessa, you
I'm
there?
here.
Okay, good. Okay. Couldn't hear you. Click on. Commissioner Culberson?
Here.
All righty. Before we go any further, I just want to recognize a couple people in the audience I just noticed. We have Stacy Rogers. You got to know her in the last couple months. She's also running for Kansas governor, so if any of you people in the audience want to ask her questions, you've got her here to ask her. And also I want to welcome back Dave French. Dave, of course, served on the legislature and did a lot of good things. So, folks, I'm glad you can make it today. With that, I will entertain anybody that wants to come forward on public comment. If you do, raise your hand. Yes, ma'am. Come on up.
And I'd like to welcome Cecilia Pruitt from my district, one of my constituents. Thank you.
Well, thank you. And as he said, my name is Cecilia Pruitt. I live at 21800 Parallel Road, Tonganoxie. Long-time Leavenworth resident. Went to high school and stuff, moved away, came back. What I wanted to talk to all of you, the commissioners, about today is the proposal for a natrium reactor in Leavenworth. This is going to be like the first natrium reactor in the United States. They're proposing one right now in Wyoming. It's not going through yet. These natrium reactors, construction permits for this type of reactor was scheduled to be in August of 2026. But it's kind of being pushed through quickly because of, political things. Sometimes you get through political pressure, and that's not my opinion. That comes from the Union of Concerned Scientists. I've got a Dr. Edwin Lyman, who's an international expert on nuclear proliferation and nuclear terrorism, and I want to give a quote from him. He says, quote, "Make no mistake, this type of reactor has major safety flaws compared to conventional nuclear reactors." So I guess, to put this plain and simply, what I want to say is this is not Wolf Creek we're talking about. Wolf Creek's kind of a proven, reactor. It uses water for cooling. They have their own little man-made lake for this water and everything, and it's a proven thing that's went on. This is totally different. Natrium reactors use liquid sodium, which is a metal. Okay? Liquid sodium reacts violently with water and with oxygen, potentially causing fires and explosions. The resulting radioactive smoke from a fire will travel for God knows how many miles. I couldn't find a statistic. I guess it would depend on how big the fire was to know how far the radioactivity would travel. This can make us an easy target in the case of terrorism. And I don't know about all of you, but I don't see that as a small issue. I think most of us will always remember 9/11 for the rest of our lives. All right, now I want you to imagine what if that smoke had been radioactive. Already so much damage was done. If we had been, sharing radioactivity through that, only imaginations. And I bring this up because Leavenworth, our home, sits right in the middle of the Nemaha Ridge fault line. I don't know if you're all familiar with that or not, but this fault line runs from Omaha, Nebraska, down to Oklahoma City. Where are we? Right there in the middle. Right now, this is being programmed to use less water than conventional reactors, but don't fool yourself. It still represents a major drain on the aquifers, the same aquifers that our farmers in western Kansas depend upon to irrigate their crops. I mean, we live in the city here, but Leavenworth County is, or not Leavenworth County, but the state of Kansas is a farming state. And we know that the aquifers have been running low for years and years and years. This is why they're looking at Leavenworth. They want our water. Don't fool yourself. Terra Power, the company behind this, is funded by Bill Gates, NV Ventures, HD Hyundai from South Korea, and SK Incorporated, also from South Korea, and a few other small companies. I find it questionable that South Korea is funding this and wants to put this in my backyard, but they don't have any of these reactors in South Korea. You know, let them try it out first is my thought. I also want to say there are alternatives I think we need to research. I'm not a nuclear expert, but I would like to ask each of you to look at what's going on in Parsons, Kansas right now. They're going to start with this. This is a conventional reactor. It's very small ones. They put them in a big tunnel down in the ground, at least 100 feet underground. Now, these are not major reactors to fund like Missouri. And face it, this is what this natrium reactor is going to do. We might get a little electricity from it, but this is for Missouri folks. Don't, you know. So these will do like 10,000 households from anywhere to 2 to 7 years. When they're no longer working, they're covered up.
Okay.
I could go on, but
That's fine.
think hard about
I
this.
appreciate your comments coming in this morning. Anybody else? I'll get you next. Morning.
Morning, Commissioners. Jeremy Greenemeyer, 2500 South 2nd Street, Leavenworth, Kansas. I'm also here in reference to the potential for a nuclear reactor in Leavenworth County. I know I've been in front of this body representing other organizations, but as of today, I'm here representing myself and our family's businesses. So I want to be clear at the outset, I'm not here to advocate for approving a nuclear facility today, and I'm also not here to oppose one. I'm here to support a reasonable, fact-based conversation about whether this option makes sense for Leavenworth County. Our county continues to grow, and with that growth comes higher demand for reliable electricity, public services, and infrastructure. At the same time, this commission has frequently discussed the pressures that rising property taxes place on homeowners and businesses. These two realities are directly connected. Nuclear energy is not just a speculative idea. It's one of the most heavily regulated industries in the country, governed by federal law and subject to years of environmental review, safety analysis, and public input. Agreeing to study a proposal or sign a letter of interest does not obligate the county to move forward. It simply allows us to evaluate the facts. From a fiscal standpoint, this deserves serious consideration. Reducing property taxes has been a recurring priority of this commission, as these taxes have been a continued burden on county residents and businesses. A nuclear power facility represents a large, long-term capital investment that can significantly broaden the tax base through property taxes and other negotiated fees. This is the kind of stable revenue that can help fund core county services and infrastructure while also easing the tax load on existing property owners, rather than continuing to shift more cost onto them. Energy facilities are built to operate for decades, providing predictable revenue instead of temporary gains. There's also a broader policy consideration. A new nuclear reactor supports White House directives on energy and national security by strengthening grid reliability with always available baseload power, reducing dependence on foreign or unstable energy supplies, and hardening critical infrastructure against fuel disruptions, extreme weather, and geopolitical risk. Nuclear energy would provide predictable, secure energy essential for our military installations, data centers, and other national security interests. Supporting this conversation is not choosing nuclear. It is choosing due diligence, fiscal responsibility, and informed decision-making on behalf of the county's taxpayers. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate your comments. I had someone else. Come on up, sir. Good morning.
Morning, everybody.
Morning.
My name's Gary D. Blackmer. You probably already know that by now. I live at 20643 Tonganoxie Drive with my wife, who's here with me today. And we like our home, we like our county, we like Leavenworth, we like Tonganoxie, and we enjoy our lives here, and so has 10 grandchildren over the years. I came today to thank you gentlemen for hearing me all this time. Thank Bill Knoll for putting up with me. Mrs. Reed, your meeting last Wednesday, asked if she could come down to the house, and I said, sure, come on. She came down, and she looked at what I've been talking over with you guys, and I guess you can call it griping a little bit about that we'd like to have some rock in the driveway, and the next thing I know, Monday morning I think it was, the wife says, hey, there's a truck backing up in the driveway there. What's going on? So we got rock in the driveway, and I would assume Mrs. Reed had a little to do with that, and I know Bill Knoll did, and I appreciate it. And I appreciate you gentlemen putting up with me all this time. And I believe in the American way. And that's to stand up for what we know is right. And I think you guys all came to that same decision with me. And I appreciate it. And that's all I have to say.
Appreciate your comments. Glad we could resolve that, especially Bill. Thank you for taking care of that. Thank you, sir.
I do have a question.
Mike?
Did you serve Miss Reed some brisket?
No, I didn't. The briskets weren't done, but I asked her, I said, are you a rib person? And she says, is there anybody that isn't? Something like that. And she smelled it, you know, where it's at. I cook I have a big metal building, and I do all my cooking in there. And so she smelled it kind of all over the property there. And asked what that smell was. And I said, well, come on, I'll show you. And so, yeah, I gave her a slab of ribs to go home with.
There you go.
And,
Okay, thank you.
for that.
Anybody else like to address the governing body? Yes, sir. Come on up.
My name is Jerry Pruitt, 21800 Parallel Road, Tonganoxie, Kansas. My wife just spoke. I'm not here to complain or whine or do anything like that. I just have some questions for the council and would appreciate some answers at some point. And it's concerning the nuclear facility. And my first question is why the council has not put out information on this facility before this time, before Mr. Stevens put out his email or Facebook post. I'm not sure the transparency is there from this council. We went through this with Tyson, and I'm not sure we want to go through this again and get everyone riled up.
Let me address that real quick. We weren't aware of it either. In fact, I wasn't aware of it as a chair until Mike called me last week and told me about it. So there's definitely a communication drop somewhere. So
Somewhere from whom, though?
Well, there's only one way area it's coming from. I guess the person is writing a letter or bringing it to us. I don't know. That's one of the questions we'll have. But we were not aware of this until, Tuesday, Mike, Thursday?
I had just heard about it a little earlier in the week, but the official notification of this to the Board of Commissioners was not until last Thursday.
Right. Okay.
So we were not aware of this as even being a possibility. I did mention at last week's meeting, if anybody was in attendance, that the same type of reactor is being proposed, and a letter of interest was signed by the city of DeSoto leadership.
Right.
So I think, I'm not sure why it came to us so late, but we're going to get into that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for that.
Yeah.
And let me see. I've lost my place here. My next question, do we have any idea where this proposed site may be? I mean, is this just the starting groundwork now, or?
We're going to have to ask questions. the folks that are going to answer those questions are going to be coming up after in our meeting this
Presentation,
morning.
yeah.
Okay, I'll keep going then. The electricity that's going to be produced by this, again, is this going to be produced for the, I understand it's going to be, some of this will go to Missouri, some of this will go to Kansas, but will it benefit us and reduce the electricity costs for Kansans? Or will it just be Evergy using this again to sell electricity at a higher cost?
You know,
For data centers, I'm not done.
I agree with you. I agree. One thing I just might add, didn't mean to interrupt you, just so you know, I'm going to be, as the chair, I'm going to be asking for a motion that this come to a work session. Because all these questions you're asking, we don't know, but they're excellent questions. So we're going to have to get to the bottom of all that. And in the work session, anybody can come and have a chance to say what they want. What I'm trying to say, didn't mean to interrupt you, what I'm trying to say is we don't know the right questions to ask to get the answer because we just haven't been made aware of it. But we will be briefed here in a little bit. And then, in my opinion, is we need to bring in and sit down and have some conversation about this.
Okay. Do you want me to continue with questions, or do you?
Sure, go ahead. I just wanted to let you know what my plan is.
Well, I guess again, it is with the Gates Foundation and the other entities that are helping pay for this. Will this cost Leavenworth County anything? Will it affect our taxes, our property taxes? It's another item to look at. Will Leavenworth County have any oversight? Are we prepared for not HAVAC, but are our first responders going to be trained? Are they going to be prepared for this in case of an accident? There's a million questions out there, and I agree with the workshop. And I would be more than glad to attend and to listen to any proposals. But I think we need to get a foot forward on it and just not sit back and think, well, let's just let it go.
I agree. Personally, I totally agree with that, sir.
All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you for taking the time to come talk to us. Anybody else in the audience like to address the government about it? Yes, sir. Come on up.
My name is Keith Longhofer. Thank you for listening to me.
Sure.
Mike, I appreciate your transparency on making us aware of this thing in such a short notice. I suppose I'm just going to reiterate what has already been said here. My concern with Evergy, if we look at our bills, I've noticed that we're being charged for improvements that they make. That is windmills and more infrastructure. Is the same thing going to occur with this facility coming up? The other concern I would have is what is it going to do to our tax base? I have nothing against nuclear power. I really don't. No more than I have anything against chicken. Although we fought Tyson, if you recall. It was just their methodology that concerns me, as it does with this situation here, too. As Cecilia pointed out, they use sodium as a power supply. I wanted to bring a little chunk of sodium and show you what it does with water, but I think I got thrown in jail trying to get past that thing.
We appreciate that.
What's that?
We appreciate that.
But anyway, it's pretty, I don't know, just this type of reactor has me a little bit scared, not only because of the potential for terrorism on this, for accidents, but we're in one of the highest population areas in Kansas. So if we had any leaks, this would be pretty devastating to Kansas City, Overland Park, Lawrence, Leavenworth.
Right.
So these are my concerns. And like with Jerry, I would be happy to come to a meeting and listen to what these folks have to say.
Appreciate your comments, sir.
Thank you.
Anybody else want to address the governing body? I think I've heard from us, everybody. Okay, with that in mind, we'll go on to administrative business. Before I go around here, Mark, do you have anything for us?
Yeah, Commissioners, I asked Bill to come up today It's that time of year with snow removal and whatnot, and just road maintenance issues are going to be coming up to you. So this is kind of an every year we have this conversation about reasonable expectations. So I just wanted to have a chance to bring that up.
Welcome. Thank you, Bill. Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. Every year we do come in and we discuss the snow and ice removal policy. That policy has been in effect since 2019. It actually predates me by a couple months. But it is a very thorough policy that has a lot of really good information. And so what we look at is...
Bill, can you move the microphone?
I thought it was facing me. Sorry about that.
Try again.
Try again. So what we have is the policy on snow and ice removal. It was from 2019. And that policy has a lot of really good information. Generally, we review that information every year at about this time. So that policy outlines what we do in the event that we have a forecasted snowfall, and it actually lays out the forecast and what our pre-storm actions would be. So in the event that we have a snow forecasted, depending on the temperatures and the severity, at the discretion of the road superintendent, he will go out and pre-treat the roads, whether that just be the bridges and intersections or whether we try to treat the majority of the roads here in the county. And then it outlines the snow removal routes. And so for our hard surface roadways, we have our priority routes, then we have secondary routes, and then we have our third tier routes. And so we will follow those county routes, and mostly they're dependent upon school bus routes and number of vehicles and the amount of traffic that these roadways get. And so we will follow that snow removal route for the hard surface roadways through the year and through the storm cycle. And so that map is available on the county website for the public, and we'd be happy to answer any questions about it. Then it does discuss what we do for the 500 miles of gravel road that we do have in the county. At the time that this policy was written, obviously we've paved since 2019 probably close to 60 miles of road, so we do have a little bit fewer miles of road, but we do not remove the snow from the gravel roads until we have 3 inches of snow. Until you have a 3-inch snowfall, if you're removing it from 1.5 inch roadstone, you'll lose a lot of your aggregate. And so we try not to lose that aggregate into the ditches or onto the side of the road. And so we generally go out and clear that snow at about the 3-inch mark off of the gravel roadways. Even if we don't get a 3-inch snow after the snow is fallen, we will still go out and scare fire or grade up the hills and intersections and shady areas that are covered in ice, but we do not do a full snow removal effort. It also outlines the fact that we do a 24-hour response for all of the hard surface roadways and working in the subdivisions, but on those gravel roads we work approximately 12-hour shifts. We do not work around the clock on the gravel roadways. And so it outlines, in the conclusion of the policy, it outlines, depending upon the amount of snow we get, what is a realistic expectation of how long it will take us to cover all of the roads in the county. For a minor snowfall of less than 2 inches, it generally takes about 36 hours for us to cover the entire county once. If it's 2 to 6 inches of snow, it's usually a 2-day effort for us to cover all of the roadways in the county. And then if we get up to that 6-inch, close to 6-inch or more range, it will take us approximately 72 hours to get around the county one time with a single pass on all of the gravel roads and all of the hard surface roadways. What is not really laid out in here is what we expect for wind after the storm events. Wind can wreak havoc on our snow removal efforts. We will go and do a pass on, say, a gravel road, and if it's a east-west road with a strong north wind, that area that we did grade can become a trough, and we will have windrows and blowing snow across those roads that we have to continuously clear off until the wind dies down. Also, temperatures play a major factor. Salt only works down to approximately 17 degrees, and it was also very dependent upon the number of vehicles on the roadway, grinding that salt into the surface, and the amount of sunlight we have during that snow. So if it's a very gray day, like the last snowstorm that we had, and it doesn't stop snowing until 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and then it drops to 10 degrees, that salt's not overly effective until the next morning, which is exactly what we saw in the last snowfall. Is we had some pretty icy conditions going into evening, and in the following morning where it was still pretty icy because it really didn't break up for the night crew to push off. But then by the afternoon, with the snow or with the sunlight that we did get and the traffic that went across the roads, by the time folks came home from work that afternoon, it was pretty much down to bare asphalt on every single road in the county. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Bill, I got one question for you. Maybe I missed it, and I probably should know. Cities have emergency routes and emergency places they put in place. Maybe I missed it. Does the county have a place they start before?
Yes, we start on those emergency snow routes, which are our first priority roads.
Are they marked?
Yes, they're marked on the map.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Vanessa, do you have something on that going around the room?
Oh, thank you.
Pull that mic down.
Thank you for, allowing me to come in and participate. I had a wardrobe malfunction in the parking lot on my way in, so I had to go home
That's
and
more than we
start
want to know.
again.
Go right ahead, Vanessa.
I have more. So anyways, thank you very much, and I apologize to everyone for my tardiness. Sure. And I was so thankful to attend the legislative breakfast yesterday. I thought it was completely awesome. I love when we all get around the table and can hear each other's ideas and try to work things out. So I think that's it for me.
Do you have anything for Bill?
Oh, no.
Okay. Did anybody have anything on Bill's comments? Mike, go ahead. Yes and no.
Okay. Mr. Knoll, I appreciate you being here today. How much in the past 5 or 6 years, how many millions of dollars in grants would you gave us the information? It's over $60 million. Is that correct?
Yeah, we've gotten county-wide infrastructure grants that we've participated in at over $60 million in the past 5.5 years now.
And those are matching. Many of those are matching grants, and that has allowed Leavenworth County in the past 5 years to pave and hard surface more roads than we had paved or hard surfaced in the previous 30 years. That's a wonderful record that you've established, and I really appreciate all the hard work you've done, and it's much appreciated. Another item I was going to bring up is we've had multiple road projects, including County Road 30, which is presently under contract, going to be paved hard surfaced up to Dempsey. We have a congressional authorization that is in the works to move it all the way up to the state highway, correct? That's kind of in the works?
That is currently in the THUD bill, the Transportation, Housing, and Urban Development, I believe that's what it stands for, with the U.S. Senate. So if it gets approved as part of the budget, we will get a $6 million congressional directed spending.
So we'll have a hard surfaced road that you can drive from Easton all the way to Tonganoxie and then go to Lawrence. It'll be a connection, western connection in the county. And I'm going to give you all the credit in the world for developing that. I appreciate that. Also, other projects that have been done include Tonganoxie Road improvements, including the many safety improvements there down in the Stranger Bottoms, Eisenhower Road, 158th Street, where we had multiple accidents, and the county has interacted with KDOT. I believe they're going to be putting in a quote-unquote a circular intersection at 32 Highway there on 158th Street because of the number of accidents. We asked for a traffic light study.
I believe that'll be in 2027, but that is a different project. I didn't consider that part of the projects that we've received as a county. That is a safety project KDOT's working on, but it is under design currently for, I believe, fall of 2027 construction.
But we did write a letter to the state asking for a traffic light study.
We've made multiple requests. I believe it had 4 fatalities.
And when they finally came out and did their study, they found out that the hill would need to be leveled, and that's hence the project. Also, Eisenhower Road, 158th Street, multiple bridge projects. I don't know. Do you have a count on the number of bridges that we've replaced in the last 5 years?
Not in front of me today, but
a lot.
We can say 15 to 19.
15 to 19 bridges.
I think it's fair.
And that
spreadsheet.
And that's from many years of underfunding the roads in Leavenworth County, and we're still, frankly, we're still underfunded, but we're making a diligent effort to get our roads, bridges, and infrastructure up to speed. And Mr. Knoll, you have been a key component of that, and it's very much appreciated. Can you tell us about the Trap Rock savings? How much money did we save by switching over to Trap Rock?
We saved about $1.2 million in calendar year 2024. I don't have a comparison here today for 2025, but that was 2024 savings of $1.2 million.
And that's the kind of thing that we're looking for in all of the budgets to find out if there's efficiencies, and that was a definite efficiency that we found. Also, we had a Cleaner Rock initiative where we're trying to get cleaner rock out of the quarry, and we paid, I don't remember, there's a difference in how much it costs to come out of the quarry and clean it, but we did have that initiative to get cleaner rock.
Yeah, it's a considerable price difference. It's approximately $9.25, I think, for the crusher run rock, and it's $25 a ton for screened rock to get the fines out of it.
Big difference.
Whether we buy it at a quarry or get it from our own quarry, it's about $25 a ton for screened rock.
So I just wanted to bring these facts up for people to hear, and real progress we've been making on the county roads. Appreciate your.
I've been very pleased with the grants. That's when you go out and get them. We got other departments that do them too. We're going to hear from corrections and stuff like that. But anytime you can get grants, because not everybody's good at writing grants and or having the contacts, so we appreciate what you've been able to do. And there have been more roads paved and stuff like that. But still a big county, and there's a lot of times we can't get to everything as quick as we'd like to. Go ahead, Vanessa.
Bill, I was wondering, so with the Trap Rock, is that causing a difference, on roads at all?
Well, it causes several differences. I think the wearing surface of Trap Rock is superior to Haydite, so it does seem to stick to the asphalt way better during snow removal. As far as the maintenance cycle goes, I think it is superior in the maintenance cycle. We have had an increase in the number of claims for some windshields. It is heavier and a little bit sharper than Haydite, so we've had probably a 75% increase, I believe. We've gone from approximately 25 claims an average year for windshield issues, cracks, breaks, to, I don't know where we're at, maybe 40 or so this year, 42 or 3. I'm not exactly sure of the exact number. So we've had an increase in those claims, but that's the two main differences. We knew that going into this. We discussed it at the commissioner meeting, the pros and cons of Haydite versus Trap Rock, and it was determined that the best course of action was to move forward with that Trap Rock at that time.
I would like to just kind of put a notice out there, because even my own insurance agent didn't realize if there's been recent construction and you believe your windshield is a direct hit from that, you might want to, the county does have a potential way you can claim that. The other thing is tires, and of course, if it's breaking windshields, it's not good for grills either. And we drive Tonganoxie twice a day or more, and we noticed a definite difference in the surface of our grill. So just letting people know, pay attention to windshields and grills, because if we're trying to save money at the county, but we're causing cost to individuals, I think we need to relook at that. Thank you.
Thanks, Vanessa. Anybody? Any other questions to Bill?
And many times those incidents with automobiles are related to directly after the rock's been laid.
Most generally, they are received within that 2 to 3 day period right after we've done the chip and seal work. We don't see a continued number of claims generally on any roadway, but be happy to revisit it with the board. We can always go back to using hay diet. We can also look at limestone.
Commissioners, just one thing I wanted to follow up on here. We follow best practices with all of our rock. So our staff, they're doing the best they can. When they put the rock down, they go back out and broom it as it's appropriate. They review it. We may change some of those practices to not allow traffic on it quite as quickly, but they are following best practices to try to alleviate some of those issues. And no matter where you go, when you're driving down the road, there's potential for a rock to be kicked up. Doesn't necessarily have anything to do with the recent projects that we've done. And just wanted to clarify that a little bit. And then also back to the reasonable expectations. The reason we bring it up this time of year is not just for snow and ice, but on gravel roads. This is the worst time of year for the gravel and rock and dirt roads because of the freeze-thaw cycles. They don't get a chance to dry out like a asphalt road does. They just hold the moisture and it freezes, and then only the top part of it thaws out, which creates a layer of mud that never seems to go away. So the reasonable expectations is it's winter in Kansas on a rock road. Our crews are out there doing the absolute best they can. We simply do not have the budget or the staff to put rock down after every thaw cycle. So that's another reason why we bring that up today. And I will guarantee every one of you will receive a phone call about a muddy road. In the summer, we get the dry, the dusty roads. In the winter, we're going to get muddy roads, but it's way more frequent in the winter. So that's why we have this conversation now. It's getting ready to start. We're getting ready to hit in January, typically we start to hit the really hard freeze-thaw cycles. So even though there's been no moisture for weeks, sometimes you can still get a muddy road.
Yeah, the other thing I would think that it would be important for me to point out is people pay for liquid magnesium chloride dust control on gravel roads in front of their house. It has been the standard operating practice of the county to grade those every year, beginning approximately November 1st, and then as needed through the winter if we end up in a freeze-thaw cycle where these sections of roadway where the chemical treatment has been applied to them for dust get really potholed. We do grade those. They will, after some additional moisture, pack back in pretty well, but we do have to maintain the roads for safety, and people do pay a pretty good price for those. They're $1.50 a lineal foot of center line of the roadway, and so a lot of times people are very upset when we have to grade the roadway if they've paid $1,500 or $2,000 or $750 or whatever they have paid for their stretch of roadway. So we do get a lot of calls regarding that, but it has been the practice, actually since I've ever been a public works director, for 15 years. Generally, every county goes out after November 1st and starts to maintain those as needed through the winter. They obviously skip them if they can, but you have to keep the traveling general public in mind as well. And then if the board has any interest, we can always revisit what type of materials we're using. There's best practices for all of them, and every type of material has pros and cons.
But that'd be more like a budget time discussing that because the cost would be up. So if we'd want to bring this back up again and look with the impact of the budget, that would probably be the best time is when we're going through the process. Is that correct?
Yeah, that'd be correct.
Okay. Any other questions for Bill? Okay. We've drilled them enough. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you.
Hey, one more thing before we go on that, Mark. Becky sent out a letter the other day about our schools wanting to go and have a chat with them about educating the people, young people on voting. She asked the county commissioners, let her know if the letter was okay. I'm not going to call you out. There's only 2 of you that did it, and I was one of them. So I would ask you to look at the letters and let Becky know, because this this forum or meeting we're trying to set up is about the third week of January. So please take time to do that, Jeff, Vanessa, and Willie. Thanks, guys. Mark, do you have anything else?
Give a response. I read it. Well, it looked good, but I didn't know.
Mark, did you have anything else? Okay. Mike?
Yeah, under administrative business, I know we're going to be visiting about this issue that's being brought before us by LCDC, but I wanted to address a process issue before we get to this. And the process is the fact that when we as a Board of County Commissioners are going to be considering an issue, we cannot be notified Thursday before the next Wednesday with the expectation that we're going to sign on to a letter of interest when we don't have any time to vet this issue. This is the same process that I've seen when we had the Tyson issue. When the Hills Pet Nutrition issue came forward, I was notified the day of Hills Pet Nutrition as a commissioner. That's the first I found out. And I went out and got on social media and defended it and explained that, this is a clean process. We had to get on but we didn't know about it till that day. And the same process has happened on a number of times when it comes to communication and these kind of projects. And this is a big decision. This is not a little decision. And I've just in my research since last week, there's 100 issues related to this issue that are going to have to be discussed and vetted. But for it to come before the Leavenworth County Commissioners to be notified the Thursday before the next Wednesday with the expectation that we would sign a letter with all 5 commissioners sending a letter of interest to the state that we want to move forward or we want to investigate this further for a project, I think that's premature. I do support having a work session, and we'll talk about it. I think we should have a work session. I think we should bring in the experts, and I think I've read enough information now that there's people that are far smarter than me, maybe not smarter than the rest of the commissioners, but a lot smarter than me on this nuclear energy thing, and they can come and testify and tell us what about the waste? How long is the half-life of these materials, and are we going to have armed guards there, and who's going to pay for that until the half-life is expired at this facility? I have found out a few facts about it, but I also found out, one fact I found out, we talked about the legislative breakfast yesterday, I found out that per kilowatt hour, natural gas plants cost 2 cents per kilowatt hour, coal plants cost 3 cents per kilowatt hour, and this natrium reactor is going to cost 5 cents per kilowatt hour. So we're going to subsidize energy through the state, local government, the federal government that costs more. Does that make sense? Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. We got to have a work session before we move ahead. So the reason I wanted to say this before we got into it is just on the process issue is why did we not get notification of this weeks ago, especially the fact that I know other communities like DeSoto have signed letters of interest several weeks back, and we're not notified till now. And I don't know if we're under any kind of a time pressure on this, but I think it's a real issue for us. And then the last thing I'm going to say is we, as the commissioners, asked that LCDC place a representative of the county commissioners on their executive board so that this would not happen, so that we could improve the communication between LCDC and the commissioners. And to this day, the LCDC has not responded favorably to that request. And I think, once again, this is an example of a lack of communication going back and forth and an issue between our economic development entities that we have, and I think we need to resolve those issues moving forward. And I wanted to get that on the table before we talk about the actual issue itself, so that we don't have to. The process issue is different than the actual issue. So I just want to bring that up.
Mr. Stewart, I have a question. How did you find out about this?
It's interesting. I was visiting with the county administrator, and I just because DeSoto last week I brought up at the county commission meeting that DeSoto wanted to have this same type of reactor, and I brought it. And you'll remember I brought that up and read some articles at last week's meeting, but I just guessed it.
You guessed it.
I was talking to Mr. Longford, and I said, surely they're not going to bring a nuclear reactor. And that's it.
I think that was on Thursday. And I think we're ahead of schedule here because we're not even on this agenda item yet.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Let's wait till we get there.
Commissioner, as I told you then, the process is we don't meet one-on-one with each commissioner and tell them what's coming up, because that would be a violation of the Kansas Open Meeting Act. So your opportunity to hear these things, today is the first day you can hear it as a group. I think the LCDC followed the process on putting this in front of you. That is a short time frame for response. I think that they can address that and why the state didn't reach out to us sooner. But everybody received it at the same time. It went out when we received it on Thursday. I forwarded it to the commission as soon as we received it to let you know it was coming. And then it went into the packets on Friday, which is our process. That's how it works. That you have to make a decision. I mean, the commission doesn't have to make a decision today on this. They can decide to table it, to have a work session. That's something that you can do to get more information. But and I'm speaking out of turn here because I know this is what Brian wants to talk about. But what they're asking for today is whether you are even interested in discussing this and getting more information on it at all. That's all they're asking for. It's a letter of interest. I think that was also discussed yesterday at the legislative breakfast. And I'll stop there because really that's
we got that coming up in formal board action.
Bailiwick.
We'll get to that when we get to formal board action.
Mr. Chair,
do you have anything?
Sorry.
Yes.
The Comacora training that Todd Thompson had this last week, I don't remember seeing you there, but that is totally incorrect. Of course, the county administrator and county staff can discuss with every single county commissioner. It's that more than two of us cannot talk to each other.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Let's move right along. I don't have anything for Mr. Mrs. Willie, do you have anything?
No, I do not.
Vanessa, anything else?
Thank you.
Okay, Jeff? No. Okay. No report from the county clerk. I'll entertain a motion on the consent agenda.
That we accept the consent agenda.
I'll second it. Any discussion on it? Mr. Stephen?
Aye.
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 All right. We'll move on to formal board action. Now we can get into this. Consider a motion to approve a letter of support for power plant LCDC. And who we got in the audience? Morning.
Good morning. Brian Havian, I'm the current board president for LCDC. Normally Lisa Hack would be here, but unfortunately at the exact same time here, we figured we'd be up at 10 o'clock. She had a development meeting with the city of Leavenworth on a different project, and that one we know has more support at this point, so we wanted to have her at that one.
Sure.
And so as board chair, I got volunteered to come and present this today.
Lucky you.
And, first couple things I wanted to bring out is that LCDC is made up of a volunteer board of directors, and we are the group within Leavenworth County that tries to existing businesses and also expand. And what we're doing today is exploring a letter of interest. And to talk about a few of the points that have already been raised before we had a chance to get up here, I'll just start answering questions because there's a whole lot that is getting directed at us that's bluntly not true. We did follow the protocol as outlined by the county commission to present the information on the Thursday before we wanted to be here on Wednesday in writing. And that is the county commission's own policy on how you bring something to the county commission. So we did do that. We did talk with your representative, Vanessa Reed, who is on our board, about this project. Could we bring this to the Board of County Commissioners? So we vetted our project as an ask before we came here today. The Department of Commerce in Kansas is the state lead on all state-driven projects. And we don't have the reasons why. We do know that they selected DeSoto and Johnson County as the only group to initially get this project. Typically, the way the projects work in the development world when they're driven by the state is they'll assign a project name and they'll blast out to all the development partners throughout the state a project name with a small 2 or 3 sentence project idea. It might be something as simple as we had Project Diablo earlier this year. It said a site consultant was looking for 75 to 100 acres with rail access for a heavy industrial manufacturing facility to be built. That's the information you have. So then as LCDC, one of the things we do is we respond back to those RFQs, RFPs, and RFIs, requests for information, and come up with, do we have any sites, even within our county, that matches what the 3 basic criteria even are. That one, for instance, we don't have rail access with any sites that we could do, so we had to respectfully decline that opportunity. So that's typically how the projects get sent out to everybody in the state of Kansas. This project, they call it Project Sandpiper, only became public knowledge once City of DeSoto and Johnson County, Kansas, had to go before a public body and make it public.
What date was that?
That's when we found out about this.
Do you know what date that was?
November 20 was the date of their letter.
So that's when it became...
That's when it became open to LCDC to even know it existed. I'll put it that way. The state of Kansas earlier this year did announce they had signed an MOU with this particular new Terra company, Terra Power, to build a power plant within the state of Kansas. That was a state of Kansas initiative. I believe that was earlier this summer, but there were no details given to anybody to even talk about. The state of Kansas decided they were going to sign an MOU with them. And so once we saw or were made aware that the city of DeSoto, which is very close to us, had an opportunity, Lisa, our executive director, reached out to the Department of Commerce and said, hey, why didn't we ever get this lead? We were trying to figure out why we were excluded without even having a chance to even look at it. All of a sudden, other economic development agencies within the state of Kansas, to include I have them all written down. Since it became public, we have the Regional Development Association of East Central Kansas, which is made up of 4 counties, Chase, Coffee, Osage, and Lyon counties, all have approved these similar letters. Holton, Kansas, Jackson County has approved letters, and Greenwood County have all approved these same letters because the word got out that counties were not being invited to even have the information that's out there apparently once you have one of these letters. So the official request that came from the state of Kansas, I have it here and I'll read it to you. It basically says you must have land of 80 to 120 acres. It says excellent connection to a 345 kV or larger power grid line, and a agenda discussed public meeting and subsequent letter of support from your county commission. That's what we got on December 4th. So here we are. As soon as we got that opportunity to look at it, the first thing we had to do was find out when could we get to the county commission to ask for a letter of support. The gentleman came up earlier had a lot of questions, and we have a lot of questions about this project. And part of what LCDC does when we look at projects, first thing we do is vet, do we have a particular piece of land anywhere in the county that meets the specifications that the developer, the site consultant, the state is looking for? Does it meet their basic criteria? Like I mentioned before, do we have pieces of land that are 80 to 120 acres? They're near basically a large transmission power line. The answer is yes, because we have at least 2 of those large transmission lines that go through Leavenworth County. One goes east and west, and one goes north and south. So we have pieces of property that touch those electrical lines. And that's the only requirements. The third requirement for this particular project is a letter of interest, which is non-binding on this commission, for us to get access to the next round of information so we could answer Mr. Pruitt's questions that he had about where's electricity going to go, what's going to happen to the property, your questions, Mike, about the aftermath, what happens if, who's going to monitor it, all those questions. We have no knowledge of anything other than what I've explained to you today, and we're still trying to figure out if this is a project. A lot of times when we get a project, we'll know it's not a right fit within Leavenworth County based off what the cities or what the county or what the public has told us they do and don't want us to pursue. We have no knowledge. We don't want to say no before we know what it's even going to entail. And that's the main thing that LCDC is trying to do, is look at these projects on a one-on-one basis and say, does this project even meet anything we want within Leavenworth County? We don't know that because we don't have any information. We don't have the information to say yes or no, and we don't want to shut ourselves out of potential future projects because we were not willing to at least get all the information to make an informed decision. And that's what we would be asking the County Commission today to do, is I included the potential letter, which is a non-binding letter of support that we have now openly discussed in a public meeting to gain access to further information. There's nothing that binds the County Commission, nothing that binds LCDC, there's nothing that binds the taxpayers of Leavenworth County, the residents, to anything other than we want access to that information so we can learn, if nothing else, if this project goes into DeSoto and lands there, it's not very far from Leavenworth County. So we want to know what are those things that they looked at to decide it was a good project for them, a bad project for them, or what are the risks to Leavenworth County? What's on the south side of Leavenworth County? How close is it to DeSoto? Basically across the river. So anything that they do will affect Leavenworth County. So we want to be in on understanding what the risks are and are not deal in internet hearsay, somebody who says they know something. We want to know what we actually know for details, not make a decision and say no to something before we even know what it could or couldn't be. With that, I have more details, but that's the generics of what as far as I can go into more details about what we don't know, basically.
Okay. Have any question for Brian there? I'll tell you, it's interesting stuff. I think when I was talking about it, I've got an open mind on this. I deal with facts. I know what I think and what I've heard, good valid points from everybody. I just think before I can sign something like this, I just got to have more information. It doesn't mean I'm going against what you said, and I understand how the procedure works. It's just that when you sign something, you're still saying you want to take a look at it, and I'd rather take a look at it without signing the letter. But I don't know if that's going backwards or not. You understand what I'm trying to say? Any other questions?
Yes. Could we have the council weigh in on this as to what the Commissioner Smith just voiced? Does that commit us or not?
No, it does not commit you to the project. I have read the request to sign the letter of support, and it is saying that, the letter of interest, excuse me. It is basically saying that you would like more information and be able to have a seat at the table to hear the information as it comes out. So it's your opportunity to open the door to more information or close the door to hearing more.
Excuse me. Thank you. Brian, yes. Why can't we receive that information before we sign a letter of anything?
We wish we could tell you because we don't know.
Well,
the Department of Commerce is the person driving this ship. And once we asked for permission to be involved after we saw the DeSoto letter, they gave us till year end as an extension. The extension was December 1st was the original. That's why DeSoto did theirs on November 20. They had until December 1st to enact a letter of interest. So basically, the way we understand it, once communities and counties sign their letters of interest to get the information, after year end, there's going to be more group settings where we can do exactly what you're asking for, Mike, is get that information And we can back out at any time out of those meetings and no longer attend / get the information if we decide / the commission decides / the public decides it's something we aren't willing to sign up for or want.
But Brian, you can understand why people here and people watching would have concerns about this. It looks like your hands are kind of tied on how much to give, or we need to take another route to get the information. Because if you don't know more about it and we don't know, and we're acting in a citizens thing, we just, in my opinion, and I don't want to cut any deal out because I want to grow Leavenworth County. I'm just not comfortable until I get more. But what you're telling me is you don't have any more to give us right now.
I have every bit of information
Okay.
here in front of me that we have on this project, and that is it. And that's what we're attempting to do. Is we want to be out front and say we are or are not interested, but we don't have the information. And simple fact says if we don't sign a letter at this particular commission meeting or the next one before year end, we will not be included and we will not have that information and we won't be able to make an informed decision, good or bad. Either way, we're not advocating at this point this is a good project for Leavenworth County or a bad one. We just know that the way this project was handled by the Department of Commerce was basically they picked a community in an area. Others of us found out about it. We asked questions, and this was the answer the state gave us is get your letter, go do the same thing DeSoto did. Because their letter right here just basically says they want to be considered for participation in discussions. That's all it says.
I read it. Mark, did you
That's all you're really doing is getting us a seat, hopefully at the table. And there's no assurances that even if we give them the letter, they are going to
pick us as one.
Leave us. They could leave us out of the gate from day one.
Okay.
So if we're not interested in getting a nuclear reactor in Leavenworth County, our best move would be just not to sign the letter of interest.
If you're not interested in learning about a nuclear reactor, you're interested.
I'm not interested. I will get into this a little bit more. But I've been researching nuclear power since I found out about this, and I could read you quite a bit about the natrium reactor if we want to get into all of that. I'm in support of having a work session, but I think giving us 5 days notice to sign a letter of interest that letter of interest actually advances the county in the direction of the fact that we could pursue this development. I think it's premature. I think it's too soon for us to say even that we want to go down that path. I would be in support of having a work session next. I don't know how soon we could get one. I mean, we're at Christmas time, and you've just given us such a short notice.
Well, Mike, we just learned about this December 4th that we had an opportunity. We came as fast as we possibly could to get the information, what was needed to get here today.
Well, this is the
state of Kansas is the person that you have an issue with in this situation, not LCDC.
Yeah. Well,
I can document we've done exactly what we should have done.
Let him finish. Go
We've
ahead.
come to you, we went to our representative, and we're bringing it to the board today. That's all we're asking for, is the ability to get here to this point today. We're not debating whether nuclear reactors are good or bad. We just want to know what the information is or isn't. That's all we're asking for.
Right.
And it doesn't mean we're willing to say yes. It's a non-binding letter.
So did your organization, when you were considering this project, did you take into account any of the issues that are related to nuclear power? Did you look at any of the...
We don't have the information, Mike. Okay. So we didn't take anything into consideration other than there was
there's information that is publicly available on the natrium reactor. I Googled it. It's not hard to look it up. Did your organization do any kind of research on any of that?
Yes, Mike. Once we know the name of the company, we Googled the company, I'm sure just like you did, and we found their brochures about their reactor in Wyoming and their project and what they do.
So you did your due diligence on this reactor, and you're aware of...
No, we didn't do due diligence, Mike. We did education ourselves as best we can in the short time we had to understand what we were or were not even looking at. That's all we've done.
So I had 4 days to look at this, and I can read you articles about it from a lot of different points of view, and I would have thought that you folks would have done some review of especially the fact that we do not have a national nuclear high level nuclear waste disposal facility. We don't have one of those. So every time you put a reactor in this country right now, you create a nuclear waste site. They have to put the high level waste in a cask, and it stays on the grounds of the facility. For example, Wolf Creek, all of the nuclear waste for that facility is on site because we don't have the Yucca Mountain was defeated, and we don't have anywhere to go with it. And believe me, nobody wants it. So if we're going to put one in Leavenworth County, I think we've got to go in eyes wide open and say, you're going to have a high-level nuclear waste disposal site in Leavenworth County. So before I'm going to sign a letter of interest on that, I want to have the people from KU come in here and tell me that I'm wrong.
Okay, Brian, county commissioners, don't kill the messenger. He's come up here and explained what's been going on. Willie, do you have something?
Yes, I have a couple comments. Brian, what information are you willing to share? The information that you have with the commissioner, information that you have.
We have sent you literally everything we
Okay,
have.
Commissioner Stephen, the information that you've acquired. What about us having that information so we can have a better look? Because we don't have a lot of time to go back and reinvent this.
I could definitely.
Okay. All right.
I have copies of that. And
that's all I want to know.
Yeah.
That's all I want to know. Thank you.
And also for the public, on my website, on the county website, I put some articles on the natrium reactor. You could go on there and look up those articles. But
on the county website.
Yep. And this just a note for the new commissioners. You can post articles, any kind of articles or any information that you want to put on that website. It's available to all the commissioners to post.
Vanessa, do you have something?
Yes, thank you.
Go ahead.
Thank you so much for coming. I've heard a lot of scuttlebutt against LCDC from members of this commission, and it's just absolutely shocking to me, completely shocking to me, that when a position comes up, they do exactly their job to the T. They are not thanked. They are not welcomed. They are not shown appreciation. We can't sign a letter of interest. Then Leavenworth County is closed for business. We're either open or we're closed. The commission needs to show that we are open for business. I'm sure I wasn't the only one there at the breakfast yesterday. You got some pretty stern words from Representative Beeler for stirring people up for absolutely no reason at all. Senator Klemp said, Commissioner Stephen, why are you not open to getting information? You cannot do a good job if you're uninformed. It's absolutely impossible. So I ask vehemently for this board to sign a letter of interest. When you're in business, if someone comes to you with a proposal and says, we would like to potentially do this, you go, tell me more. That's what we're doing here. We're saying, absolutely, please tell us more. It's really that simple. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, since I was
Go ahead, Mike.
Referred to, I'm going to make a couple remarks on that. Look at the state of Kansas on this issue. If you've been reading the newspapers, do you not feel that it's being rushed? Do you not feel that the public has not yet been allowed to weigh in? I see ribbon cuttings in Parsons. I see the Department of Commerce rushing. I see a federal administration that has loosened the regulations in order to push this. Does this not raise... Good government is government that is open and transparent, and good government is also deliberative. We do not make decisions of this magnitude in a period of 2 weeks or 4 days or 5 days. We look at all of the various angles and what the issues are, we are not saying that we're not open for business. We're saying we're open for business, but we've got to look out for our citizens. We've got to look out for the future generations. What does this do for the future generations of Kansans? And does this benefit us? I said in the article in the paper, and not stirring anyone up, but I think it's fair to raise the issue. I support nuclear power. We have room at Wolf Creek to put another nuclear reactor of full size. We already have a storage facility at Wolf Creek where we're storing high-level nuclear waste. The obvious answer is if you want to put a nuclear plant in here, do it at Wolf Creek. If you want to do a Nexium reactor, do it at Wolf Creek. That's where all the high-level waste in Kansas is stored. Right now we have 2 reactors in the state of Kansas. One's at K-State, one's at Wolf Creek. The state policy that is being pushed on us is that we're going to have 100 nuclear reactors. There's going to be high-level waste at all of these sites. There's going to be security issues for the half-life. And some of the half-lives are 300,000 years. The shortest half-life that I've been reading about is 300 years. You're going to have to pay for security of that material or for that material to be moved. As you know, I'm a locomotive engineer and I'm trained on hazmat. Those casts are so dangerous to move. That's one of the issues of why we haven't established a national repository for this waste. To even contemplate that we would put 100 reactors across Kansas or X number of reactors, a reactor that hasn't even been proven, I think that's really of concern. So since you raised the issue, I'm going to make a couple points. And Commissioner Dove, I just want to read a couple little excerpts from the article from the concerned scientist that I had, if I can find it here. Here's just a couple little excerpts. This is from the concerned scientist, and this says, NRC's rushed approval of Bill Gates' experimental Wyoming nuclear reactor will imperil public health and the environment. I'm going to read you just a couple excerpts. Of particular concern, NRC staff has assented to a design that lacks a physical containment structure to reduce the release of nuclear materials into the environment if the core would melt down. TerraPower argues that the reactor has a so-called functional containment facility and eliminates the need for a real containment structure, but NRC staff plainly states that it did not come to a final determination of the adequacy and acceptability of functional containment performance due to the preliminary nature of the design and analysis. This was rushed through. They changed the regulations so they could push this through because this is their answer to energy. And I'm not against bringing in jobs. Let's bring in the latest coal-fired power plants are like 10 times cleaner than the ones that are online now. But you're not going to have the risk of this waste having to be stored. That's open for business. But the issue, and I will get you these articles, Commissioner Dove, but the issue here is this letter, and when you were making your comments, you said letter of support, and then it was change of the way it's interest, but the point is that if you sign the letter of interest, they have the space for all 5 commissioners to sign. And that actually is a letter advancing forward the county towards this project. If we do not,
excuse me, is it letter supporting it, or letter of interest?
It is a letter of interest, and we could find out more information. I'm not even prepared to sign a letter of interest until we have a work session on the issue and bring all these issues out. If you sign it is a part of the process. This letter of interest is actually a part of the process to advance the project. So you have to sign the letter of interest.
Hold on, Commissioner.
Guys,
Please.
Go ahead, Will.
A letter of interest is of interest only. Interest only. No support of the project whatsoever. How can we support anything without having the information that you have so graciously went out and found, and that Brian has brought to us, if we don't know what the information is?
I guess I'm not speaking so I can be understood. Let me try to back up again and say it. This letter of interest, while it's called a letter of interest, this is a step towards advancing the project. You have to, the commission has to agree to the letter of interest in order to move the proposed project ahead. If the commission decides we will not sign the letter of interest, the project is stopped right here, and we do not move forward with consideration of locating a nuclear reactor in Leavenworth County.
And
so,
I would contend, Commissioner Stephen, that what was said earlier is that when you do that, you are actually putting a wedge between you and the possible interest of Kansas economic system going forward. Without having a work session, without doing these things that we are accountable to do by the taxpayers, then we're short-sighting everything. We're cutting off the debate. We're cutting off any interest. We're cutting off the support, which we should cut off the support if we do not have the data that's needed that can come forward by the LCDC.
What I'm saying is I am prepared as a commissioner. In my district, 80% of my phone calls and letters say that we do not have an interest in pursuing this.
Commissioner Stephen, how can you justifiably say this?
Thank you.
How can you justifiably say 80% when we've just found the information out on
the
Thursday?
phone calls and letters I've received.
Okay. How can we keep going back to the same thing.
You're right.
I think so. Let's just stop for a second. Let me finish this up for us, Ron. I want to know more about it. I absolutely want more about it. Now, if it's consensus of the board, we could get together next week. There's no way to push this off. They have to have it by the end of December. Is that what you said?
Right.
And so I would still like to get more information, even if we have it. Even if we discuss this next week, gives everybody the opportunity to go out and look at this.
But there's no way for us to get information unless we sign the letter of intent.
I know, but I agree with that. I agree. This is like this apple or orange thing.
So we have no information to have a work session on because we're not willing to sign the letter of intent. So why are we taking Leavenworth County off the table? Why are we taking Leavenworth County out of it?
Okay, hold it. Let's go with that. We've beat this up. And first of all, I want to say something, Brian. I'm on the Port Authority. I think you guys do a good job out there. I've always tried to come out there and show you that. So to say I don't support you is not true. There's some language that we disagree on or how it should be funded and stuff like that. But what you do and what you've done down south has been amazing. So right now, we're to the point of we're going to have to make a decision one way or the other. I need a motion to either approve the letter of support or deny it for the power plant from LCDC.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we decline to express a letter of interest to locate a nuclear reactor in Leavenworth County.
Do I have a second? I'll second just for discussion. Now we can talk about it, but let's stay on point. Let's stay on point. Is anybody else that would like to talk about it before we vote? Okay, Commissioner Stephen?
Yes.
No.
Are we questioning, are we a letter of interest or a letter of support?
Letter of interest is what the thing should be. It should be.
Of
For
interest?
clarification, are you voting on what, his motion?
Well,
or the letter of
my
interest?
motion.
His motion. His motion deny, basically. But I think what Willie is saying clears it out. We've got an interest, but we don't have support. So that's what we need to make sure it says, in my opinion, is we got an interest on that. That's the reason I need to look at it going down further. Mike's made a motion of not to support it, right, Mike?
That's correct.
And he's voted no.
Not to support
Voted
a letter of
yes.
interest.
Voted yes. I'm sorry. You guys got me going here. Voted yes. I'm voting no because I want more information.
I vote yes on the letter of interest.
I want to clarify.
Let's go back.
The original motion was to decline to sign a letter of interest. So a yes vote means do not sign it. A no vote means you're not trying to reject considering signing the letter of interest.
So we'll get more information.
So no.
No.
Thank you. No.
No.
So I have a question.
Go ahead, Jeff.
So your motion is to decline even entertaining this any further to get a letter of interest signed by the county commission.
This, I support having a work session on it,
Right.
but I don't want to sign the official letter of interest because that advances the project.
But the way the public's going to look at this is that the county commission is moving forward with a nuclear power.
That's right.
So my question is,
Then they need to be informed. That's why we need a PR person.
Yeah, and I'm just
Jeff,
trying
go
to
ahead.
figure-
Jeff,
I'm
go
just
ahead.
trying to figure this out either way. So what you guys are saying is you're okay with a letter of intent signed by the county commission just to get information. Basically,
Because we
We-
can't even have a work session without information.
right. But basically, we're saying it doesn't cost us anything to see the river card. We just want to see the river card. Problem I see with that is that's saying you are open to the possibility of a nuclear power plant in Leavenworth County.
How can we say no when we don't have the information?
Okay.
Hold it. Let
And
me
that's
finish.
exactly my point.
Hold it. Go ahead.
We
Jeff.
don't know what the
You're open to
benefits are
that.
going to be.
Hold it.
I agree
Hold
with
it.
that.
Jeff's
I
got
agree
the
with that
floor.
100%. We don't even know what we're saying no to
We don't know what we
until
don't
we
know.
get a little more information.
Thank you.
But my problem with this, and I'm trying to figure out which way to vote, is because by saying you want some more information, you're saying maybe we'll say yes.
We're just saying we want information. It's just
but
information.
why?
Maybe
Unless
we'll
you're going to
say
maybe
yes.
say yes, right?
Because I think we have a huge problem in Leavenworth County with any
People-
single thing that comes up.
Absolutely.
No.
Absolutely.
No.
Absolutely.
We
And
have to
that's-
change
since
this
the Tyson
perception.
project, that's what we've been trying to fix because people think we're bananas.
We have to be able to have conversation.
Well, one thing. Don't forget that honestly, this is going to come back if they go start, and we look at it again and say, "Hey, we don't want anything to do with this." I mean, all we're trying to do now is get
and that's the
We
information.
spend weeks and weeks on this.
And that's
We're
the
trying to get
stigma that
everyone-
I'm trying to fix because people think we're bananas. Build absolutely nothing anywhere near anything syndrome. That's what we have become in every business owner's eyes.
Right.
I talked to several business owners that built right across the county line. I said, why don't you build right over here? They said, build in Leavenworth County? Are you crazy?
Thank you.
So I'm trying to fix that. But with this particular item, I do have a problem trying to figure out which way to go because by saying I'm open to get some more information, which I'm on board with 100%, just to hear that we don't have to pay anything to just see the river
Right.
card. But that's saying maybe I'll say yes down the road. If you guys guarantee me safety and put all my questions to bed, worrying about public safety and things like that, then maybe I'll say yes.
Right.
But Jeff, one
That's
thing.
the problem I got.
No, Jeff-
That's the problem I got.
Because why would you say you're definitely going to say no? You don't even have the information.
Because it's a nuclear
There's enough
power plant.
information.
There's obviously a lot of support for it.
You are blind to the information.
We don't have the information.
Stacy, it's usually not like this.
We don't know what we don't
Yes,
know.
it is.
But I got to ask myself, would I ever, no matter what information you give me, would I say yes to a nuclear power plant in Leavenworth County? I got to say no.
Well, the thing I'm saying, no, ma'am, the thing I'm saying right now is I'm not saying I support it right now. If you had to, I would say no, but I want to know more
I know.
information.
That's where I'm
I
at.
want to know more
So
information
did you
about
vote
it.
no on the motion? Because you just said no.
Hold on.
But
So-
signing this
Okay,
interest
we've got
letter-
the roll call going. Oh, Jesus, it was yes,
Yes.
no, no, no.
So it's already passed.
Yes.
Yes, speak your mind.
Abstain.
Let me tell you one thing, though, folks. This is not to say that when we get this coming down, well, I'm going to support it because I've got. Just let me finish. I've got a lot of issues with what I've talked with Mike about because he's the only one I can talk about coming down here. So don't think I support this. What I am is I want to be smart enough to know what the right answer is or be able to ask the right question. So right now it looks like this. Your vote failed 3-2.
Okay, can I go ahead?
And
Another
so-
motion.
Has that been done? Has that been settled yet?
Yeah,
We
it's
voted?
It's 3 to
It's
2.
done 3-2, okay.
Okay.
Good.
So we can send the letter of interest to LCDC.
No.
There has to be a motion
Has to be a motion.
to approve.
I
the letter of
motion to
interest.
approve a letter of support.
Letter of interest.
I motion to approve a letter of interest. I don't know who wrote the agenda. I motion to approve a letter of interest for power plant to LCDC.
Second.
Motion and second. I hate to say it, discussion? Oh, please, thank you.
No.
Go ahead, Mike.
Okay. I'm going to read you what I put in the Tonganoxie Mirror.
Don't we have a
I am
motion on
concerned,
Yeah,
this is
but you
discussion.
can consent. You can talk afterwards.
I am concerned that basing a nuclear reactor facility in Leavenworth County may not be a good fit for our communities. The proposal, which is being brought forward by Terra Power, a corporation backed by Bill Gates, would place a reactor facility in Leavenworth County. This proposal is not alone in Kansas, as it seems Governor Kelly's Department of Commerce has made a determination that small nuclear reactors scattered across the plains is the solution to our energy future. It's time to put the brakes on and consider real facts about why nuclear power has stalled in this country and what the risks are for our communities. The first problem with the current push to go nuclear is the perception by the public that they have no say in the decision. It seems as if overnight our government officials are arriving for ribbon cuttings and dedications without any level of openness and transparency about the real risks of this unproven reliability of some of these technologies. Should we not have a state-developed policy about how many nuclear reactors will be enough and what the rules will be in Kansas before we move forward? The second issue is that there is currently no national high-level nuclear waste disposal facility in this country after the failure to adopt the Yucca Mountain facility. Scientists have also found that even in cement casks, some of these materials are extremely dangerous to transport on our highways and railroads. The result has been that every nuclear reactor facility in our nation has become a high-level waste site. I suspect the same will be true right here in Leavenworth County or in nearby DeSoto. Any reactor constructed will likely become a waste site because currently there is nowhere to go with the waste and no one wants it. I'm not opposed to nuclear power, but let's not fool ourselves or our neighbors about the risks. If we want another reactor in Kansas, build one adjacent to the current Wolf Creek facility where they already are storing large quantities of high-level waste. Let's not create waste sites across the state. The current proposal is flawed and it is not a good fit for the county because it is rushed, it doesn't take into account the experimental nature of the new technology, and by default would create a high-level waste site right here in the middle of Leavenworth County. I will not be signing any letter of interest to move forward with this project.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to go ahead with the letter of interest. Mike, you're the starting vote.
I'm voting no.
Yes.
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 No.
Okay, 3 to 2, it passes. So we can get back to conducting ourselves a little different. We're going to take a 10-minute recess, and then we'll start back up.
Thank you.
Are we doing the
Okay.
that's engineering,
We're doing.
the 235th Street?
No, that's not us. That's last week. Jeff,
Oh, never mind.
how much Novocaine did
This is
they
old.
give you, Jeff?
This is old.
Jeff, how much Novocaine did they give you to fix that too?
I got the laughing gas.
So, before you proceed, I had a question for council, and I asked, and I just think I should ask it publicly. Is that all right?
Yeah, go ahead.
We're going back.
Hold
on. We're going back in session. We have
Oh, we're not back in session.
The camera's on.
Camera's on. Yeah, we're back in session.
Okay.
Okay, question for County Councilor. Is there a mechanism to place this issue on an advisory election?
The statute does allow for advisory elections in certain circumstances. There are some procedural hoops that involve it. It's a non-binding election. If the commission's interested in that, I can provide more information at a later time. I know there's a lot of procedural hoops, but that it is generally a possibility.
Can you, since we're going to be looking into information and everybody is so dedicated to getting information, I think that certainly would be some information that I would like to see us have.
Certainly.
That's fine, Mike. Okay, let's go down to item B. Consider a motion to approve request to select an education appointment to the Juvenile Correction Advisory Board or continue to advertise vacant appointment. Morning. Or is it afternoon yet? Go ahead.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You sound very convincing. As you all know, our JCAB membership has statutory requirements. We need an education requirement. I'm constantly I have both applications for the JCAB and the CAB posted on the county website year-round, and I did market this vacancy. I've even talked to educators in multiple school districts without getting them to apply to be on the board just because of time constraints. However, I did meet the Dean of Student Success at KCKCC, and I've attached his application. He's the only applicant that we received in the months since we were notified of this vacancy, and I have a meeting tomorrow.
So tomorrow.
So I'd love to get this vacancy filled.
We'll be there.
Yeah.
I'm seeing y'all every day this week.
Yeah, seems that way. Okay.
Want a motion?
Yeah.
All right, just a moment. I move that we approve the request to select an education appointment to the Juvenile Corrections Advisory Board, and it is Sean Garrett.
Second.
Okay. Motion second. Any more discussion on that? Start roll call with Mike.
Aye.
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 All righty. That one's easy enough. Moving right along. C, approve request for community corrections to utilize opiate settlement funding to maintain a negative program facilitator, FTE, established in 2023 through the use of these funds and utilize a portion of funds to meet matching requirements for the JEM-HCP BGA grant. What's that long name for grant? Go ahead.
It's Justice and Mental Health Collaboration Project Grant. That's what JMHCP stands for. So first I'm going to go back. We started receiving opiate settlement funds in 2022, which are deposits and wire ends from Johnson & Johnson, right. McKenzie, Mallinckrodt, distributors, Walgreens, anybody who owes Leavenworth County a portion. The payments for that are front-loaded, and they're not going to be sustained. So when the money runs out, the money runs out. But there are approved uses of the funds. And in 2023, I came to the board and asked if we could use those to establish a full-time cognitive program facilitator position in my department. That's something that I had requested in my grant for 3 years prior from the state of Kansas.
Right.
And they declined it every time because there were just not any additional funds. They were already maxed out for who they were providing those positions for. Now, if in the future they provide those funds and these funds dry up, obviously I would utilize their grant funds for this position, but it has made a huge difference in the outcomes of people on supervision because we're addressing the criminal thinking errors.
Yep.
This isn't processing treatment. They're not social workers. They're coming in and they're educating people on thinking tactics and antisocial thought patterns that allow them to justify criminal behavior. And it, like I said, has made a huge impact, which is why I fought for 3 years to establish this position. I think everyone on my staff and our clients really appreciate her because she gets our clients to open up. They don't see her as a authority figure. They see her as a safe place. And then they can be more honest with us, because she's like, I'll sit there while you tell your officer that you relapsed, and you're going to have to deal with consequences, but you have to be honest on supervision. Otherwise, if you get scared and you run, you go back to prison. So she absolutely is impacting, our success rates and our engagement in supervision. So we'd love to sustain her position with these funds. Additionally, last fall in 2024, we received a BJA grant that I had applied for and received permission from the board in May of 2024 to submit that application, because there was a 20 and 40% matching requirement. We identified that this source of opiate settlement funds is also an allowable use for matching for justice and mental health collaboration, because opioid use and addiction is obviously heavily tied into trauma and mental health disorders. So that's why I'm asking to utilize these funds to sustain those projects and continue to move forward and make progress.
Any questions? If there's no questions, I entertain a motion.
I move to reapprove the request for the community corrections to utilize opiate settlement funding to maintain cognitive program facilitator FTE established in 2023 through the use of these funds, and utilize a portion of the funds to meet matching requirements for the big acronym JMHCP-BJA grant.
Second.
Motion and a second. I told you it's long one. Any discussion? Start the roll call. Commissioner Stephen?
Aye.
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 Very good. Hey, thank you. We appreciate everything you do too. And I'll see you tomorrow at 3. And
Jamie.
Mike and I will.
Thank you for everything you're doing.
Yep.
We appreciate it.
Yeah, we
Very
do.
much. Thank you.
Thank you for being quick. Bye, dude. Okay, we're on presentation and discussions. Mike, did you have anything?
I do have something. Where is it? Today, I have a KCATA meeting at noon. Consequential vote on whether to keep the chairman or administrator of the organization, Frank White III. That vote is going to take place today.
Heard that.
So that's
That's very interesting.
pretty important vote. Discussion yesterday with Senator Klemp about the possibility of tying in the base with the airport with a bus service that would also connect into the metro. And I'm going to be meeting him for breakfast tomorrow.
They use that a lot, Mike.
On some of these issues, and appreciate the legislators coming, and we are open for business.
Well, I'm next. I appreciate the legislators coming. We did have some heated discussions, but sometimes you got to have those to get to it. I think we can be more civil sometimes, but that's just my 2 cents. But it was a good meeting. I think Connie and everybody hosted it and got it, and Fran got it done for us. So we got to lay on the table the majority of the county commissioners' prerogatives. So it went well. Willie, you have anything?
Yes, attended the NACO conference in Wichita.
Yep.
And it was pretty good from the standpoint that got a chance to talk to the director of operations, the executive director of operations, and he has forwarded an email to the Department of Defense, DOD, on the request that they look into finding, finding funds that to help offset what the fort is costing us. He said that this subject has come up before, and that he believes that there is a chance for us to have a conversation that could lead to some positive results.
Anybody can help us.
He's
a go-getter.
And to be friendly, just on the sidebar, I got to take the future president of NACO out, and got to know him personally and find out how some things work and how we could be better partners with NICO as the Leavenworth County.
And they had a huge turnout. I mean, 'cause I tried to find you at lunch, and it wasn't going to happen. Anyway, I wish I'd known this yesterday when we were having our discussion at the breakfast, because I didn't realize that you had done that. That's great to hear, though, Willie.
Now, I apologize for missing the legislative breakfast yesterday, but I got an ill spouse that wasn't doing too good, so my mind was someplace else.
Your sausage, you don't have to worry about that.
You did that? Okay, good.
Vanessa, you have anything?
Well, I hope she's feeling better.
Absolutely.
Not much,
Not
but
today. So I will pray
I walk
for
the
her.
dog instead of her.
Okay. All right. We definitely missed you. Again, thanks to everyone that was involved with putting that on. The food was good, and it's just always a really nice time. This was my second one, my first one actually being in the seat, so it was a joy for me. And I'm sorry I wasn't here for the gentleman that came and spoke about my visit in the county, but that was a fun time.
Are you sharing the
Two
It was
grills.
fun for you, not for us. we didn't get any of it.
I ate half of one. The rest went to my husband, so you have to talk to him. Thank you.
That's my story.
And I'm sticking to it.
Like us, Vanessa. Anything else, Vanessa?
Thank you.
Jeff?
I don't have anything this week.
Okay, Mike, I'll take a motion to
Adjourn.
second. Mr. Stephen? I second it.
Aye.
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 All right, thank you, folks.
Now let's vote backward.
Don't confuse me. It's been a long day already.